Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to this game's tutorial. Today we create a really ugly texture. Everything we do is really ugly, but as you can tell, it's a texture. It pretty much just overlaps our UVs. And here is the result in the game. It is something of the sort inside of the game scene, or I mean the hub scene. We basically just have some colors going on. So, green here, we have the poster, which is a little bit too defined for something we can't really see. The chest with a logo on it, which is great. And the war table, which, the green part is going to be like a screenshot of in-game stuff eventually when we do have art going on there. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We actually just fill our texture, we color a little bit, and yeah, so let's actually get started. Alright guys, so last time what we did is we pretty much just set the UV for our scene, and we've also exported the scene back inside of the game. And we end up just breaking all our links, so that's what I've done offline. So while the video is not recording, I went ahead and I just made sure that every single object I can click, so the chest, the gem, hologram, research, they all have a box collider on it. That pretty much just fits the zone where I want to click, and they also have a waypoint. All of them also now have the hub object and their tag over here as of, not tag, but they're under the hub object layer. And just pretty much just fix everything like we've had before, but now these objects, they have proper UVs and they're pretty much ready to be drawn on. We end up with this kind of result, so the same thing we've had before. My table here is missing a leg, so yeah, don't mind that. And yeah, so it's pretty much just the exact same thing, and today what we're gonna do is actually just lay down some color. So I'm going to right click somewhere, show and explore, so I can go back to my folder, go one step back, and that is where I save my model. So not in the asset folder, but outside of it. We've got our hub scene, our Blender file, and we also got our UVs, and that is really what we are interested in today. So what we are going to do is open up Photoshop right here. Now that this one is open, I'm going to drag and drop my UV hub scene. Now we know that by looking at the file here, we know that this is a 1024 by 1024, and I think that's going to be just fine. Especially for a mobile game, we don't want to go for something that is 2K. That's just too big. Right. So now what do we do with this? I'm going to right click somewhere. This is going to be my UV, and I'll just label it. Just click somewhere, add a new layer. I'm going to be putting a black color in the background, so we end up with something like that. And now this is where we pretty much just start drawing. So where can we start? We could be starting at the very top. Very top here, if I recall, that would be the research table. So let me just create a little folder for that. Research table. Now the way you define your UI, not UI, the way that you actually just define your layers and how you group them is 100% up to you. I like putting them in different folders for different objects. So research table is right here. What I'll do is just grab a whatever color you wish, maybe like a brownish color. Now again, this is something I'm really bad with, colors in general, so if you feel like you're gonna have better colors, please just do that instead. And I'm not gonna be making any motive, but what you could do is go on Google, look up game texture that are royalty free, so maybe like wood texture royalty free, something like that, and then you end up going on Google, you find something you like, and you could be just placing this. I'll just take it as an example and then put it back to something that is not copyrighted so I don't get striked. So take this, copy image, and I paste. So we could end up with something of the sort. Now this one is obviously a little bit too big. And like I said, this is to give you an example. So just put that on top here. And we're gonna go ahead and just save right away so you can just refresh your page and have all the modification applied. So right now we're under models. This is where we save the Blender file. I'm going to save this PSD file like it is. And then open up a new context here and go under save as, and we're saving this as a PNG. Now this one has to be inside of the asset folder because we're gonna be using it as a material. So asset, artwork, hub scene, texture. And just like that, we are going to go back in the game, open up our hub scene, create a material, so right click, create a material, That would be the hub scene material. Now, for the texture, we're going to be finding this texture, the one we just imported as a PNG, and we're going to apply it to pretty much everything. So to the floor, to the chest, to the share poster, the gem, and this thing here, the table, and so on. Now, if you have a look over here, this is pretty much just a texture we applied, so you could be leaving it like that. Assuming this was a royalty-free texture, I could be leaving it like that. But I'm not going to be taking any chances, and I'm actually just going to leave it to what I had a moment ago, but it just gives you an example of what you can use. So that would be the top of my table. Could be adding like a little bit of noise if you wish. Like I said, I'm not going to be spending too much time on that because I know you guys have your own art. And I'll be duplicating it. Same thing for the sides. Maybe even put like a little bit, like a lighter color for that. Why not? And if we just save this, save as PNG, and we quickly just overwrite what we had, which should be under assets, artwork, hub scene. If we just overwrite that, we should be seeing the changes right away. And here they are. So this one makes a little bit more sense in terms of legal stuff. Right. So we're gonna keep going. These books, one of them could be bluish, one of them could be greenish, who knows? And they're right next, right here. Oh. So let's go ahead and keep going. First book is gonna be, say, this color. You can probably tell I really suck with color. Really, really bad. That's going to be the first book. And the second one, I said it's going to be like bluish. Alright. I don't know if you guys remember, but we also had the little thing here that is really hard to see. We had a single pixel. Here it is. And that would be for the vial. So I'll just remove this patch here. And we'll make sure that this part is actually, like, say, half filled by a color, so I'll just be putting, say, white. Oops, keep my selection going. So white. Oh, by the way, since we're here, we're gonna be removing the UVs at the end, so we're gonna be toggling this off. So we're gonna need to actually put something in this line. So I'll just create a new layer, and here we go. All right. And like I said, this one guy is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be bumping down the alpha to say, let's try 50%. And then we can go look at the game right away. So turning off the background, turning off the UVs. We're up with this. Let's go here, save as. And we are going to save as hub texture scene. Alright, so next step is going to be the legs. Legs are going to be a little bit darker color. Now, I think I put them here. So again, I create a new layer. Just go on top of that, grab this color, and I'll just go for a really dark brown. Something like that. And that would be it for my research table. Aye, good times. Now, this one over here is a little bit more complicated. That would be the chest, and we also want to be putting the logo. So I'll just navigate through my folder here, try to find my logo. Where is it? It's right here, nice. And I'll just be putting it somewhere in the center of that chest. And now we're actually just changing folder because we're done with the research table. So let's go here, create a new folder. That would be chess. And I'll just put it here on top. Make sure my avatar is inside of it. And try to center it as best as I can. Alright, so let's keep going. Going to create a new layer. Let's start from at the very top here, or maybe a little bit more. And we're gonna be, oh, you know what? Since it's gonna be for boat, let's actually just grab all of that and just put the single color we're gonna be using for the chest. And a chest could be not blackish, but brown, like maybe like this kind of brown. Let's just try that. And it's gonna be in the background, of course, so something like this. And on top of that, I'd also like to just draw some borders. Kind of. So I'll be creating a new layer and just grab these border like this, maybe like more, so something like that. Make sure it's equal on both sides. And I'll be putting the white color in it. I'll do the same thing at the very top side here, like so. And we're gonna keep doing that for every single sides of it. Alright. No, we're missing this one. Alright. So that's what I had in mind for the chest. Maybe the brown is really not that good looking. And well, the UV's on top of it, so you gotta be like remembering that the UV is on top of it at the moment. Let's actually try without the UV, save it. Have a look at the chest right away. I know I'm like testing it always like super fast, but that's because I want to have a look at it while I'm making the thing. Alright, so our chest is down here. Now obviously the contrast is not really good. The chest might be a little bit too synced in. Yeah, there we go, it's a little bit better now. But you know, you have a feel of it. And I'm gonna be putting it a lot lighter. So maybe the way to go was not with a darker gray, but with a brighter gray. Brown, I keep mistaking those colors. Sorry about that. English is definitely not my native language. Alright. So, this should be a little bit better. Let's have a look, and then we can go back to doing our things. Or maybe my logo is just not good enough to be placed like here. It really depends on your lighting too, and I realize that. Okay. Let's proceed. There we go, everything's gonna be white now. Let's proceed with the next piece of UV. That would be the chest again. So I think that's the inside, the borders inside of it, so we can be putting like a golden color or something like that. Let me just try this out. So choose all of this and go for a golden color like that, and when we'll turn off, it's actually going to look like this. Alright. So I'll be keeping the white borders idea for this part as well. The way I'll do it is I'll just take the lasso tool, so this tool over here, and I'll go like this, really gently. And once you're done with that, you are going to right click on it and do a select. So something like this, and you just apply. Alright. Now as for the color of the chest, I'll turn off the UV, grab this color. So guys, it's really up to you, you know, what kind of texture you do, and if you actually just decide to put some texture in it, because you know right now I'm not really putting texture, I'm just putting colors, and I think that's gonna be fine for my game because I'm just showing you guys how to do it. But of course it's better looking if you actually draw something and like put like a little bit of details in that. I'm not putting any, but that doesn't mean you need to put any. That's what I do, and end up with something of the sort. I know it doesn't really matter if you're putting like weird colors in between the UVs because that's really never being rendered. Of course you don't, you know, if you just want to show this to your not your boss, but like potential boss in the future, like an interview, you want to clean this up a little bit better so your texture actually looks good when you're looking at it from a developer's point of view. But right now we're only seeing it in the game and in the video, I guess. So let's proceed. The back of the chest is gonna be pretty much the same color. I don't want to be messing around with that too much, so let's go ahead and just grab this, put the UV back, and here we go. Like this, just cover this whole thing. Am I missing something? I think that's the inside of the chest right here, and yeah, so we're gonna be putting another layer, maybe like another shade. That would be a darker shade this time. And here we go. That's definitely the best chest you've seen, and the best research table up here. So much potential. Let's go ahead and just save this. We're gonna go back inside of our artwork folder. And it's actually looking better now. Alright. Of course, we can be adding stuff to it inside of it later on if you just want to like model a little bit of coin or ruby or stuff like that. So let's proceed. The next one is going to be, say, well, let's actually just look at the UV and go down from there. This would be the hologram base. I'm going to go with something really simple, so we're like 3 different colors for that. Of course, change folder, hologram, and let's go for color 1. Color 1 is going to be taking the whole thing, so what color could we be using for this? Maybe this kind of color. Alright, so what I'll do is I just grab the whole thing like this. Apply the color I selected, and then I'll create another layer on that, and I'll just take my time and try to carve it inside of here. And there we go. Now we apply another color on top of that, so maybe just the white. I still don't know how this is going to look at all. It definitely looks very good in this texture, as you can tell. So, if we just go back again, oops, and it looks like that, so it's obviously not very good looking. There's also a center down here. I totally forgot about it. Let's have a look at the center. So where is the center? It should actually be here. So we're gonna be just again creating a new layer, and the center could be a different color, so maybe like a, I don't know. To be honest, I'm really bad with these color, and it's starting to look awful. So I'm gonna trust you to have better taste than me with this. So you guys can just put whatever you want. Right. Let's keep going. This is the gem. Gem is gonna be simple for now. We don't want to be like messing around with that too much. Maybe a little bit of alpha on it would be looking great. So let me just create a layer. Take this kind of greenish, and then opacity at say 70%. That would be done for that. Next one would be the share poster. And now share poster, we could be, I don't know, I'll just go take a screen cap of the Facebook page or something like that. It's something I plan on changing a little bit later on, of course. But that's what I will roll with for now. So I'm thinking about just taking this thing that you don't see, which is my Facebook banner, and I'll just be putting it somewhere at the top here. This is where I say that you could be defining a little bit more, you know, what's inside of your object. It doesn't have to be like a single color like that. So that's what I tried doing here. Oops, it's a little bit too much feather. Maybe something of the sort. And then as for the rest, I'm not quite sure. But for the sides, we'll be putting that on a, I'll be putting that on this color. So I'll actually just duplicate this kind of texture, and I'll stretch it. Now you gotta remember that these are really hard to see, and also the whole, well, any object really is really hard to see because it's, first, you're on a really small screen, which is that, you know, your phone, but also you're far away, and these are very slight UVs. Text would work as well, so you'd end up with say something like that. If you just change your font, I guess it can actually look good. And if you get the letters a little bit closer to each other, not the letters but the text, this font, why not? Rescale the whole deal. Hopefully it's readable from out there. So that's our share poster. Very good looking poster. It's like super different from everything else. Of course you don't want to have something like that, but hey, we're just doing it for fun, and we're learning how to place UVs. Finally, we've got the war table. So war table. Now as for this one, I said I want to have like a big texture in the middle here, but I still don't know what kind of texture I'll be putting. So what I feel like doing is first let's start by tackling this part. This part is easy. So that's the inside of the war table. So that would be this band here. So we're gonna go for some kind of white color, something that stands out. Let me just choose it. That's our white color right there. If I can create a new layer for that. And we'll just make sure it perfectly fits with the UV, so something like that. And then create a new layer. We can also be putting white here, by the way. But the top of the table, so not really the top, but this part of the table, the sides here, I'm still wondering what color I want to be putting them. So I was thinking about some kind of brown, but then adding like borders on the sides at least. So we'll see how that works out. Again, create a new layer. Let's put that single color I was talking about, so maybe like a brownish color that we can sample from up here. Why not? And then, again, a new layer because I just like creating those. I'll be grabbing this side here, right about. Okay, it's kind of hard to do. So let's start from here actually, just go down here and then cross this UV, but following like a parallel line. And I can be putting a white in that. That's not white. I'll just duplicate that. Control T, flip it, and put it there. Now, if we have a look at this in terms of UV, it's a little bit wrong because it just, you know, the brown overlaps this part. So we're gonna make sure that the brown is at the very bottom here, like so. And then we end up with something like that. Okay, let's actually have a look at our final, not final, but almost final texture in the game before we go ahead and we just put that big war table texture. This is what we would end up with. So the table, I guess it's kind of looking fine. We're missing the legs, by the way. I forgot about that totally. And the UVs over here are definitely on the wrong side. So that is something really bad. That's something awful we need to fix. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, to be honest. Let's go ahead and just fix our little issues, and we can move on to a new part of the tutorial. So we're still on the war table. I'll go ahead and I'll just grab a new layer. Go down here. We're gonna be putting a color, maybe a maybe this color, but again a little bit darker. And here we go. Alright, so like I said, this part is a little bit messed up, and we also need a war table texture. Right now we don't really have a battlefield, so what I'll be using is I don't know, some kind of grass texture. Any kind of grass texture you can pretty much just find that is royalty free online. And we'll be changing it later on, of course. Or you know what, even better than that, I'll just be using a grid that I've made at one point in my life. So let me look that up really quickly. Alright, so something I've made a really long time ago is a debug grid, and I'll be using that as a UV. So maybe just scale it up a little bit, and I'll also duplicate. Of course, it's pretty much just seamless, as you can probably tell. And that will be my war table texture in the middle. And once we actually have a good shot of the in-game action, we can be replacing that for the in-game picture. Alright. We are going to open up Blender for a really short moment. And where is our file? So our file is under our project folder, which is right here for me. And they're under models. And we have the hub scene. So let's open this up. We are going to be finding the poster. So where is that poster? It's right here. Now I'll press on U. Oh, sorry, no, I won't press on U. I'll go in edit mode, select the whole thing by double tapping A, and then swapping over to the UV image editor. And now we need to rotate these, and I don't know if there's an easy way to do it. I don't think so. So we're gonna have to just keep track of a few numbers here. And if you press N, you can have a look at what we have up here. So And you know what? I'll just write it down somewhere. So the later one would be 75x, 93y, and the upper part would be 3 and 207 in y. So this one goes down there, and this one up here goes at 3 and 207, so 3. And I'll make sure they're actually on 3 as well here, not like 3.14. There we go. Now the next one would be going at what we say? We said 75 and then 207. And it's back up there. Alright, I'll turn off the pixel snapping. Or sorry, the vertex snapping. And this is going to be 75 and I think it's 3. Is it? Oh, 93. Sorry about that. So here we go, and we should actually just have swapped our UVs just like that, and let's also make sure they're on the same, very same y-axis, and we're gonna hit save for our Blender file. Then we're gonna go ahead and just export this again, and we haven't changed any name, we haven't unmerged any objects, so this should not have broken anything, hopefully. Technically it shouldn't. And there we go. So well, it didn't quite work like we expected, but at least now it's on the good rectangular shape. You know what? Won't bother with that too much. You can go ahead and just do what we've did and just like do that 2 more times. Or take your share poster, right click on it, and then flip vertical. I'm gonna go with the really lazy option and go with that. Alright, so let's save this. Let's go under the artwork, obscene, and this should be the final texture for our little scene. Well, not really final, we need to replace this part here. But yeah, the next part is going to find a shader that actually takes care of the alpha a little bit. But I think we're going to be calling it a day for now, and we'll, we have some colors going on, that's what we wanted. Maybe do the wall and the floor. It's going to be something really simple again, I think. And we can move on to actually doing some more coding stuff really soon, and also just tackle a little bit of the art inside of the game scene. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please leave me a like. Really appreciate that. And as always, guys, I will be seeing you in the next episode.